Hi, everyone. This is Melissa Haas, and I'm with Stonecutters Leadership. I'm going to be talking to you today about women in leadership, some of the struggles and opportunities that we have. And I'm going to be doing a series of short podcasts in the upcoming weeks to talk about women in leadership. So, to start out, I would like to tell you a little bit about myself. My background for about the last 20 years has been in accounting, and most of that has been in the oil and gas industry, which is very male dominated. And then the last 5 years of that career was in an upper management position. And during my career, and especially in the last 5 years, I really learned a lot about leadership, both through the leadership of others and the evolution of my own leadership journey. And throughout that time, I was able to see some of the qualities that make a good leader, as well as some of the qualities that make a bad leader. And I also noticed some differences in the men in leadership roles and the women that were in similar roles. And as a woman in a leadership position, there are some struggles that are unique to being a woman. And while great strides have occurred for women in the workplace, there's still a long way to go to be seen on the same playing field as men. And in this podcast and some of the upcoming podcasts, I'm going to discuss some of the areas that women struggle that I've seen, but I'm also going to discuss some areas where we can really excel as a woman and use the strengths that we have to become better leaders. And in this first podcast, I'm going to discuss one of the issues that I dealt with as a woman in leadership and saw others deal with as well, and that is in decision making. And a lot of times, women in management, when we may have to make decisions, we're required to provide more support and facts regarding our decision than the men are. And we're also often perceived as being more emotion driven. You sometimes hear the term women's intuition, which is kind of saying that we're using our emotion and our gut to make a decision rather than facts. And men, and sometimes even other women, seem to think that we're more likely to make a decision based on that emotion and not the facts of surrounding the decision. We're also sometimes viewed as weak decision makers and have to defend those decisions that we make. But there have been studies on this, and they've actually shown that women are usually more analytical than men in their decision making. And I really think that stems from the fact that we have to defend our decisions. So we will get the facts, we will research the decisions when time allows prior to making them, and make the decision based on those facts and the research that we've done. And so we have that on hand and are prepared when it comes time to defend those decisions. So this is a way that as women, we can take a struggle and turn it into an opportunity to actually excel and thrive. And there are times when a decision has to be made quickly, and there isn't time to do that research and analyze the data to make the decision. And so this is also another area where there's a perception of difference between men and women. And this is where women are often perceived to make more emotional decisions when they're under stress, or they have to make a decision quickly, where men are perceived to be more level-headed. But men tend to it has been shown to become more of a risk taker in these situations. And women, when there's pressure to make a quick decision, actually become more risk averse. And they'll tend to shy away from the riskier decisions. Now, there's good and bad things about both these stances, both being risk averse and risk taker. And so it's always good to have a balance between these two and look at both sides. And so the best way for women to handle the struggle of being seen as emotion driven, making quick decisions, or having to make a decision under stress is to make sure that they provide their reasoning behind the decision when they present their decisions. Also, women should not be afraid to ask men for the reasoning behind their decisions as well. There's nothing that says men shouldn't have to give their reasoning as well. So a good way to get past the perception about decision making in women is to have the same expectation as of the men's decisions that you do for women. If you want reasoning and research to be presented to defend a decision, that should be required regardless of gender. So I wanted to expound a little bit more on the topic of decision making, and I want to talk about having confidence in the decisions that you make. When you make decisions during your career, have the facts and research that you used to come to that decision handy, but more important than that is to have confidence in your decision. Prior to meeting with your colleagues, I like to think about the counter arguments they might have and be prepared to defend my decision against those arguments. Don't waver from your decision if it is truly the best course of action. Defend your decision and provide that research and the facts about why, and don't waver in it. It's important to show that you have confidence in it, and if you start to waver, it's going to look like you don't have confidence in the decision that you make. If you know it's the right thing for your department or your company, then prove it by having that confidence. And by looking at counter arguments, you'll show that you've looked at alternatives when making your decision and that you truly believe this is the best decision for whatever that you're working on. And don't be afraid to be assertive. However, when saying this, I'd like to note that you should be assertive without being condescending or overly aggressive. There's always differing points of view, so it's important to acknowledge those points of view in a way that doesn't put others down, but still outlines why you made the decision you did and why it's the best decision for the company. As a woman in leadership, there are many areas where there's still a very real battle to overcome, some perceptions that aren't really valid, but we can also use those struggles and issues and see them as an opportunity to thrive. It's important not to be bogged down in the problems, but to overcome them and be aware that they are there. We've come a long way in the professional world, and we continue to make strides to become better leaders by continuously learning and working to improve ourselves. I think working to become better leaders is important, whether you're a man or a woman. And it's important to realize that we can always improve and strive to reach the next level. Helping people become better leaders is really a passion of mine. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, the last 5 years of my career has been in upper management. And at the beginning of my leadership career, I really didn't take classes to help me make the transition into a management role. And I will admit I made mistakes. And I wasn't always the best leader. And as I grew in the position, I really found areas that I needed to change to become a better manager and leader. I knew that I needed to get to the next level. So I needed to learn more about being an effective leader. And that's really how my passion for helping others in management, especially that are just starting out in management and women in leadership, that's really that passion to help those people really started. And at Stonecutters Leadership, our goal is to help you reach that next level. So if you would like more information on one of our leadership coaching opportunities or one of our leadership masterminds, where we have partnered with John Maxwell, who's one of the biggest names in leadership, to bring you some great content to become a better leader, then contact us at ready@stonecuttersleadership.com or visit our website at www.stonecuttersleadership.com. I'm really looking forward to this series of podcasts about women in leadership and hope to see you on the next one.